One wrong outfit can make you look 15 pounds heavier, even if you haven't gained an ounce. That's not an exaggeration. It happens every day to women who trust fashion myths that don't serve them. Imagine walking out of the boutique, thrilled with your new blouse, only to find that when you get home, the mirror tells a crueler story. Suddenly, the fit feels off, the proportions look wrong, and you're asking yourself, did I change, or did the outfit betray me? The truth is, it's not your body. It's the hidden traps in clothing design, cuts, and accessories that no one talks about, mistakes that make confident women look larger than they are. The brutal part? These mistakes often come wrapped in advice we've heard for decades. Black is slimming. Big tops hide big bodies. Long necklaces elongate. These are half-truths at best, and downright sabotaging at worst. And here's where most women over 60 get caught, believing that if it worked once in their 40s, it must still work now. But bodies change, fashion evolves, and style rules shift. What once disguised can now distort. So let me say this clearly, it's not about dieting, shrinking, or forcing yourself into clothes that don't feel like you. It's about understanding the illusions certain styles create, and choosing ones that celebrate you instead of betraying you. Before we go further, if this is striking a chord, don't just hit hype. YouTube finally gave us women over 60 a way to rise above the noise. Every hype tells the algorithm that seniors' voices matter. Meet Seliora Daven, 67, from Charleston, South Carolina, a woman who spent her entire life loving clothes. Shopping was never just about fabric and buttons for her. It was her way of expressing confidence, celebrating milestones, and showing up in the world with flair. Yet something shifted after she turned 60. Suddenly, the outfits that once made her glow felt like they were working against her. Every flattering cut promised miracles in the store, but in the mirror at home, she often caught herself asking, why do I look wider, shorter, and older than I feel inside? The truth is, Seliora wasn't alone. Many women over 60 still follow style rules handed down decades ago, clinging to them as if they were gospel. Black always slims. Big tops hide big bodies. A bigger bag balances your curves. These statements sound convincing, and for years Seliora believed them. But in reality, they acted more like traps than solutions, illusions that betrayed her best features instead of highlighting them. Take one Sunday morning, for example. Seliora wore her favorite long striped dress to church, certain the bold vertical lines would lengthen her frame. Yet when the choir photos came back, she was stunned. The stripes made her look boxy, almost heavier than she remembered. Another time, she grabbed her oversized tunic, thinking it would disguise her midsection. Instead, her best friend quietly told her she looked lost in her clothes. These weren't just fashion mishaps, they were little betrayals, chips at her confidence, leaving her frustrated with every closet choice. But here's the turning point. Seliora realized it wasn't her body that needed fixing, it was the rules. The so-called slimming tricks were nothing more than outdated myths that women her age were never told to question. And that realization opened a door. By unlearning these mistakes, she could unlock a style that didn't just look thinner, but felt truer to who she was. Her story is not about chasing youth, but about reclaiming control over her image, one outfit at a time. And the 7 style mistakes she uncovered? They're the very traps that countless women still fall into, until someone tells them the truth. Style mistake 1, the vertical betrayal. For decades, women have been told that vertical stripes always slim you. It sounds logical, lines that run up and down should stretch the body, right? That's what Seliora Daven believed when she slipped into her favorite striped dress for church one Sunday. She felt confident as she walked into the sanctuary, convinced the pattern was giving her height and grace. But when the choir photos were printed, the truth hit her like a slap. Instead of elongating her frame, the bold stripes made her look square and heavy, almost as if the lines were shouting the very thing she wanted to conceal. Here's the catch. Not all vertical stripes are created equal. Wide, chunky stripes may promise length, but in reality, they pull the eye outward, exaggerating curves and adding volume to the frame. Poorly spaced stripes can do the same. breaking the body into awkward sections that distort natural lines. And when those stripes are placed on stiff fabrics, the effect is even harsher. What was meant to slim suddenly betrays you, magnifying instead of minimizing. Seliora's mistake wasn't in choosing stripes, it was in trusting the myth that any stripe would do the trick. That's the trap so many women fall into. They hear the advice once, never question it, and decades later they're still wearing patterns that quietly sabotage them. The illusion is seductive, but illusions cut both ways. The fix? It's not to abandon stripes altogether, but to choose them wisely. Narrow stripes, delicately spaced, draw the eye smoothly up and down, creating flow rather than bulk. When paired with soft, draping fabrics, think rayon blends, lightweight crepes, or silks, the effect is transformative. Instead of standing stiff and boxy, the garment glides over the body, following curves without clinging, flattering without fighting. Seliora discovered this when she swapped her heavy cotton striped dress for a softer piece with subtle pinstripes. The difference was immediate. At her next family brunch, her daughter leaned in and whispered, "Mom, you look taller today." The lesson is simple but powerful: not every slimming trick is universal. Some are half-truths that work only in specific contexts. Stripes can be your best friend or your worst enemy. It all depends on how you use them. For women over 60, this distinction is vital, because proportion becomes even more important as bodies shift with age. Seliora's story proves that when you ditch the myths and pay attention to detail, you don't just look thinner, you reclaim the confidence you thought the mirror had stolen. Style mistake 2, the shoe illusion. For years, women have been told to put comfort first. And while there's nothing wrong with wanting ease for your feet, the myth that comfort shoes blend in is one of the most damaging illusions in style after 50. Seliora Daven believed it wholeheartedly. At 67, her knees sometimes ached, so she slipped into chunky beige sneakers with her favorite floral dresses, thinking no one would notice. But the mirror told a harsher story. Instead of disappearing, those shoes made her legs look cut short, almost stumpy, undoing the elegance she worked so hard to achieve. The problem isn't comfort, it's proportion. Heavy orthopedic-style shoes with thick soles and bulky designs slice the body visually in half. They stop the eye at the ankle, killing the long vertical line that creates grace. The result? Even if your dress is flattering, your silhouette looks heavy and shortened. And here's the irony: the more practical the shoe appears, the more dramatic the illusion of heaviness becomes. It's not just Seliora. Countless women over 60 unknowingly sabotage their look every time they step out in these so-called safe shoes. But here's the twist: comfort and elegance don't have to be enemies. When Seliora swapped her sneakers for a pair of nude-toned flats with a slight point at the toe, the transformation was instant. Her legs looked longer, her stance more confident, and she didn't sacrifice comfort. Later, she discovered wedges with cushioned soles that offered both height and stability. These small shifts gave her the best of both worlds: ease for her body and elegance for her image. The truth is, your shoes carry more power than any other accessory. They're not just an afterthought, they're the foundation of the entire outfit. A poorly chosen pair can drag the whole look down, no matter how well the dress fits. But the right pair, sleek flats, low block heels, or supportive wedges, can elongate your frame and restore balance instantly. So let's rewrite the rule: comfort doesn't have to mean clunky. Choose shoes that give you stability while extending your leg line, and you'll find that looking slimmer and taller is less about your body and more about the illusion at your feet. Seliora learned this lesson, and now, when she enters a room, people don't see her shoes at all, they see her presence. And that's the real illusion worth keeping. Style mistake 3, the color trap. For decades, women have repeated the mantra: black always makes you look thinner. It's one of those universal rules that feels safe, timeless, and unshakable. Seliora Daven trusted it completely. After 60, when her body felt different and her confidence wavered, black became her shield. She filled her wardrobe with solid black dresses, pants, and tunics, believing she was building a slimmer, sleeker version of herself. But the reality was far less flattering. At family gatherings, her grandchildren teased, lovingly, but honestly, that she looked like a solid block. Instead of slimming her shape, the wall of black erased her curves, flattening her silhouette into something heavy and shapeless. Here's the brutal truth: black is powerful, but it is also unforgiving. Without thoughtful tailoring, structure, or contrast, it swallows the body whole. Instead of guiding the eye gracefully, it creates one uninterrupted block of color that can actually emphasize size. The illusion of slimness comes not from the shade alone, but from how it's used. That's the trap so many women fall into, believing the color itself is enough, when in fact, the cut and details matter more. Seliora's turning point came when she wore a loose black maxi dress to her book club. She hoped it would slim her figure, but in photos, she noticed she looked heavier than ever. The dress lacked shape, the black absorbed the light, and her features disappeared. The garment didn't highlight her personality or her joy, it muted her. She realized then that black wasn't betraying her, it was her reliance on it as a cure-all that betrayed her style. The fix isn't to abandon black, it's too classic and versatile for that, but to use it strategically. Structured jackets with defined shoulders, a patterned scarf to break up the block, or bold jewelry that pulls attention upward all transform black from dull to dynamic. Even subtle contrasts, like a black blouse paired with gray trousers, or a belt that defines the waist, can stop the block effect. Seliora discovered this when she layered a fitted blazer over her plain black dress and added a turquoise necklace. The same outfit that once made her look heavy suddenly looked sharp, elegant, and yes, slimming. So here's the lesson: black doesn't always slim, sometimes it suffocates. If you rely on it without shape, texture, or detail, it can magnify the very things you're trying to minimize. But when you treat it as a backdrop, not the whole story, it becomes a powerful tool. Seliora still wears black, but now she wears it with intention, creating balance and movement instead of heaviness. And when people compliment her today, they don't just say, "You look slim." They say, "You look radiant." And that's a far better illusion to master. Style mistake 4, the necklace disaster. Fashion magazines and sales clerks have whispered it for years: the longer the necklace, the slimmer the look. It sounds convincing. After all, a dangling chain creates a vertical line, and verticals are supposed to elongate the body. Seliora Daven, always eager to add polish to her outfits, believed this myth without question. She stocked her jewelry box with extra-long pendants that dropped almost to her waist, thinking they would make her appear leaner and taller. But instead of magic, they created mayhem. At her granddaughter's piano recital, Seliora wore a flowing navy dress with her favorite silver pendant that reached just below her stomach. She smiled proudly, but when she later saw the photos, her confidence sank. The pendant didn't draw the eye upward, it landed directly on her midsection, the one area she felt most insecure about. Instead of elongating her frame, the necklace acted like a spotlight, pulling attention straight to the part of her body she wanted to soften. It was a cruel betrayal wrapped in shiny metal. Here's the truth no one tells you: long necklaces don't guarantee elongation. In fact, they often highlight the very areas you're trying to downplay. They create a visual arrow, guiding the eye down, and for plus-size women, that can mean unwanted focus on the stomach or hips. The effect is subtle, but once you see it, you can't unsee it, and neither can others. This is the kind of illusion that feels safe, but quietly chips away at your confidence. The fix isn't to abandon jewelry, it's to wield it wisely. Seliora learned that mid-length necklaces, those that rest around the bust or collarbone, completely changed her look. They framed her face, pulled the gaze upward, and added light exactly where she wanted it. Statement pieces with bold pendants near the chest created interest without dragging the eye downward. Even shorter strands, layered carefully, gave her neckline structure and balance. One evening, Seliora experimented by swapping her long pendant for a chunky turquoise collar-style necklace. The reaction was immediate. Friends commented, "You look so vibrant," focusing on her smile and eyes rather than her midsection. The necklace didn't just decorate her outfit, it reshaped the entire way people saw her. The lesson is simple but powerful: accessories are not neutral. They can betray you or elevate you. Long necklaces can feel slimming in theory, but in practice, they often exaggerate rather than minimize. Mid-length or shorter pieces redirect attention where it belongs, toward your face, your confidence, and your presence. Seliora still wears necklaces, but now she chooses them with intention. And instead of dragging her down, they lift her up, literally and figuratively. That's the kind of style correction that doesn't just make you look thinner, it makes you look unforgettable. Style mistake 5, the oversized cover-up. For years, women have turned to one supposed safety net in fashion: bigger tops hide bigger bodies. The logic feels comforting: more fabric should mean more coverage, and more coverage should mean less attention on the body. Seliora Daven leaned into this myth during her weekly art club meetings. She wore oversized tunics that draped well past her hips, convinced they were disguising her shape. But the whispers from her friends told a different story. They didn't say she looked chic or comfortable. Instead, they murmured that she looked lost in her clothes, as if the garments were swallowing her whole. The truth is, oversized clothing doesn't hide, it exaggerates. By erasing natural curves and blurring body lines, baggy tops create a shapeless block that adds visual weight. Instead of minimizing, they overwhelm, leaving women looking larger than they are. Worse, they mute personality. Clothes that were meant to protect end up concealing the very spark that makes a woman stand out. Seliora didn't look like herself, she looked like she was retreating behind fabric. It's an easy trap to fall into, especially after 60. Body changes can make fitted pieces feel intimidating, and it's tempting to reach for something loose. But oversized cover-ups are not the solution, they're the betrayal. They whisper safety, but deliver bulk. The fix is subtle tailoring that respects comfort while honoring shape. Seliora discovered this when she tried a blouse with lightly structured shoulders and a gentle waist tie. It didn't cling, but it hinted at her silhouette. Suddenly, she looked balanced, her curves softened rather than erased. At her next art club meeting, instead of whispers about being lost in fabric, a friend exclaimed, "You look so put together today, what's different?" The only difference was that Seliora stopped hiding. The key is proportion. Tops that skim rather than swallow, jackets that define the shoulders, and tunics with side slits or belts all create movement and dimension. These small details allow clothes to float over the body instead of drowning it. Comfort doesn't have to mean shapeless, and coverage doesn't have to mean bulk. So here's the lesson: hiding in bigger clothes doesn't make you invisible, it makes you look heavier. But choosing garments that honor your form without clinging gives you the best of both worlds, dignity and definition. Seliora now saves her oversized tunics for painting smocks, not public outings. Because style after 60 isn't about disappearing into fabric, it's about letting your presence shine through it. Style mistake 6, the foundation failure. Many women fall into the trap of believing, what's underneath doesn't matter if the outfit is nice. It feels practical, why invest in undergarments when the dress or blouse is the part everyone sees? Seliora Daven believed this for years. She thought her old bras and stretched-out shapewear were good enough, focusing instead on buying stylish dresses and elegant blouses. But the illusion shattered at her granddaughter's graduation. Wearing a beautiful navy sheath dress, she posed proudly for family photos. Later, when the pictures surfaced, she saw deep bra lines digging into her back, shapewear rolling at the waist, and uneven bulges that no amount of fabric could disguise. Instead of elegance, the effect was lumpy and unfinished. The hard truth is this: no expensive outfit can hide the sins of worn-out foundations. Bras that no longer support drag the bust line down, adding pounds instantly. Shapewear that's too tight or too loose doesn't smooth, it creates ridges and bulges. Even the finest fabrics show every outline underneath. The betrayal isn't the outfit, it's what lies beneath, sabotaging from the inside out. Seliora learned that her foundation garments were not neutral, they were either allies or enemies. A poorly fitted bra pulled her shoulders forward and made her dresses cling awkwardly. Shapewear that had lost elasticity rolled under pressure, creating double lines across her waist. She realized she wasn't looking heavier because of her body, but because of the invisible mistakes she thought didn't matter. The fix was surprisingly simple but transformative. On a friend's suggestion, she visited a boutique that offered professional bra fittings. The specialist explained that most women wear the wrong size for decades, and that a properly fitted bra can lift the bust, lengthen the torso, and slim the waist instantly. Seliora left with bras that reshaped her posture and gave her dresses a smoother canvas. She also replaced her old shapewear with updated designs featuring firm but breathable fabrics and seamless edges. For the first time in years, her clothes fell gracefully instead of bunching. The impact was immediate. At her next social event, she wore the same navy dress from the graduation. This time, people noticed her glowing smile and polished presence, not the lumps underneath. A friend leaned in and said, "You look like you've lost weight. What's your secret?" The secret wasn't weight loss at all, it was foundation done right. The lesson? Undergarments are not optional, they are the architecture of style. When they fail, the whole outfit collapses. But when they fit, they elevate everything above them. Seliora now treats her foundations as investments, not afterthoughts. And with every step, she carries the quiet confidence that comes from knowing her style is supported, literally, from the inside out. Style Mistake 7, the Bag Blunder. One of the most persistent myths in plus-size fashion is this: big women need big bags to balance. It sounds practical, after all, a large frame should pair with a large accessory, right? That's exactly what Seliora Daven believed. She carried oversized shoulder totes everywhere, convinced they made her look more proportional. But instead of balance, the effect was overwhelming. The giant bags didn't disguise her shape, they exaggerated it, weighing her down visually and making her look heavier than she actually was. The betrayal is subtle but powerful. Oversized bags create the illusion of added bulk, especially when they hang at the hip or stomach. The wide straps dig into the shoulders, distorting posture. Worse, when a bag is wider than the torso, it visually doubles the width of the body. Instead of balance, it's imbalance, an accessory that steals presence rather than supports it. Seliora experienced this at a charity auction when she wore a beautiful tailored jacket but paired it with a massive leather tote. In photos, the bag seemed to dominate her entire look. Her elegant outfit faded into the background, and all anyone noticed was how bulky the combination appeared. Here's the truth most women are never told: a bag is not neutral. It either elevates your silhouette or sabotages it. And size isn't the solution, structure is. A well-chosen handbag acts like punctuation for your outfit, refining the line of your body rather than fighting against it. The fix came for Seliora when a boutique stylist handed her a medium-sized structured handbag in a deep burgundy with clean, crisp lines. At first, she resisted, thinking it looked too small. But when she slung it over her shoulder and checked the mirror, she was stunned. Without the oversized tote dragging her down, her outfit suddenly looked balanced and chic. The medium bag didn't compete with her body, it framed it. The clean lines drew the eye upward, and instead of focusing on her hips, people noticed her accessories, her smile, her overall elegance. The effect didn't go unnoticed. At her next outing with friends, someone remarked, "Seliora, that bag makes you look so polished. Have you been working with a stylist?" She hadn't changed her weight or her wardrobe, just her handbag. The lesson is clear: bigger isn't better when it comes to bags. Oversized totes may feel safe, but they amplify size rather than balance it. Medium, structured handbags with clean lines create harmony, polish, and proportion without overpowering. They add refinement, not weight. Seliora now saves her giant totes for groceries and errands. For social occasions, she carries only those bags that complement, not compete. Because style after 60 isn't about adding more, it's about choosing smarter. And sometimes, the smallest accessory makes the biggest difference. Seliora's journey wasn't about chasing trends or forcing herself into clothes that didn't feel right. It was about letting go of the myths that betrayed her. For years, she had trusted old rules: black hides everything, bigger clothes make you invisible, long necklaces elongate, and comfort shoes are harmless. But once she shed these illusions, her entire image shifted. Suddenly, her clothes weren't working against her, they were working with her. Instead of appearing heavier, shorter, or older than she was, she finally looked like herself again, radiant, confident, and full of life. The moment of truth came at a family wedding. Surrounded by relatives she hadn't seen in months, Seliora walked into the reception in a tailored navy dress, mid-length necklace, structured bag, and perfectly fitted shoes. She wasn't drowning in fabric, weighed down by bulky accessories, or betrayed by outdated foundations. She stood tall, shoulders back, her smile commanding the room. That's when her niece leaned in and whispered, "You look radiant, Aunt Seliora, not smaller, just more confident." It wasn't about pounds lost or tricks played. It was about proportion, intention, and pride. And here lies the key takeaway: looking thinner isn't about shrinking yourself, it's about balance, proportion, and owning your presence. Fashion myths promise shortcuts, but shortcuts often cut your confidence instead. When you let go of cover-ups, clunky shoes, oversized bags, and old foundations, you stop hiding and start shining. Seliora didn't reinvent her wardrobe overnight, she reinvented the way she thought about style. For women over 60, this is the real power move. Not to chase youth, but to embrace elegance with strategy and self-respect. You don't need more clothes, you need smarter choices. And the most slimming look of all? Confidence paired with clarity in how you dress. Style after 50 isn't about hiding, it's about shining. Your body tells your story, and your clothes should support that story, not silence it. If these tips helped you, don't just hit hype so this message spreads to more women over 60. Every hype tells YouTube that seniors' voices deserve to be heard. Share this with a friend who needs a confidence boost, and subscribe to Ageless Style for women over 60. Because elegance doesn't fade, it evolves. And when you learn to outsmart the myths, you don't just look better, you feel unstoppable.